Hey guys, this is a quick little video for those of you that may or may not be really paranoid smoking or eating marijuana. I've got a couple of solutions that I'd like to share for those of you that are in that predicament. I don't know if other people get it as bad as I get it, but I'll be real with you. When I'm really paranoid off of smoking or eating, especially eating weed, there really isn't a damn thing funny about it. I've done magic mushrooms before. I've done Molly, or as we call it in England, ecstasy before. Some people really freak out on these drugs. But I can tell you, much is made of the psychological aspects of taking magic mushrooms. But I swear, when I've done edibles in the past, it really has felt like my sanity is hanging on by a horse's hair. Like, I really feel like I'm gonna fucking lose my mind. And like, I'll be praying to God. There have been times that I've prayed to God for atonement for my sins. I've been so fucking paranoid, so stupidly blazed on weed, bro. So blazed. Especially if you got some trauma in your past, or you're going through some deep shit right now. Bro, oh mate, you can go down the rabbit hole and be in the mud on weed. I know that feel, bro. There have been times on edibles that I'm going through terror, genuinely terrified, slapping myself in the head, freaking out so bad, praying to God for forgiveness, praying. And this shit has kind of not haunted me a little bit, but I certainly remember it. And when I remember that mind state I was in, it can kind of raise my anxiety, even though it was over a year ago. And I actually, I'm in Thailand at the moment, and I smoked some weed earlier this week. And even though I only smoked it, I started remembering how I felt when I did these edibles, and I got way too blazed. And I was kind of going down the rabbit hole a little bit. It wasn't as intense, but it was bad still. It wasn't comfortable at all. I was thinking about the current conflict in Israel, how we could be getting blown up by nuclear warheads, how we could be headed for mutually assured destruction, it's not out of the realms of possibility to see that. Just thinking about really deep shit, thinking about how I'm gonna die someday and shit. And it was really unpleasant. And I was looking into basically things to do if you're really freaking out on weed. And I remember hearing Joe Rogan speak about this a few years ago. And he was saying that you should make yourself a cup of coffee. Now, there was a time on these edibles, so obviously I had this in my mind when I was freaking out on the edibles. And it's funny, but when this was happening last year, when I was freaking out on these edibles, I tried making myself a cup of coffee, but the kettle was on a metal where basically you leave your plates and shit after you've washed them. That was where the kettle was. And when it would vibrate on this metal sheet, it would make where I was on these edibles, it would make a really loud screeching sound. And it was so intense, even from like 12 feet away. I had to just turn the kettle off and just suffer in silence. Bro, so that was kind of out of the question. But there was another remedy that I've heard being bandied about that can zap you out of the weed high, and that is black pepper. Specifically the black peppercorns. Bro, I don't know if the powder would work in the same fashion, but where I was smoking weed earlier this week and I was beginning to freak out, I thought, right, I have to just give this a try. Before this, the first time I heard about the peppercorns, I was sniffing them. Just sniffing them. I thought it was like a mindfulness technique where you sniff the pepper and it grounds you or some shit. But it turns out that what you're meant to do is eat them. Just eat the raw peppercorns. It may burn a little bit, but if you're really freaking out, if you're way too blazed and you're freaking right out, you know a little bit of burning in your mouth is nothing in comparison to that. So I kind of thought, right, I'll give this a punt. And where I was freaking out and had quite a bit of anxiety, I started eating the peppercorns, and it worked. It really did mellow me out. It started really working, and I was still blazed, but I just didn't have that really intense panging in my head, that fight or flight, like something was wrong. Just, it really mellowed me out. And I would seriously, if you're freaking out on weed, if you're way too blazed, I would recommend just biting the bullet and just eating a few of these, because I think this shit can really mellow you out. And there is one extra tip, and I'm not even trying to be funny including this shit, but if you're really freaking out smoking the devil's lettuce, or you've eaten an edible or some shit, there is one emergency step you can take, and forgive me if this sounds crass, but I'm being deadly serious, and that is putting your favorite porn on. I'm not even joking, bro. I kind of continued smoking after I'd eaten these peppercorns, and the same kind of anxious feelings began to come back again. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of spanked the monkey a little bit. I did spank the monkey, and I have a bit of a untested theory that your monkey brain can't both be relentlessly terrified and horny at the same time. One of them's got to bite the bullet. And I swear to you, if you don't believe me, if you're really freaking out on some weed, bro, if you eat some peppercorns and spank the monkey to your favorite porn and you're still freaking out, then you just got to ride that one out, because I genuinely think in 99% of cases, this shit'll work for you, bro. This shit'll work. I swear by it. The black peppercorns, this shit worked for me. And if you're really down the rabbit hole, you want to call an ambulance. This is a thing about being in Thailand as well. This is what made it 10 out of 10 intense, is I was thinking, say I don't even know the ambulance's number for one, but say they do get here, I'm gonna have to speak with these Thai ambulance workers and explain what's going on right now, how I feel. And even just the thought of that, being so far away from home in a country where the first language isn't my own, that was giving me a shitload of anxiety. So when I did edibles out here for the first time by myself, alone in a hotel room, that was a fucking bad idea. But yeah, bro, all being well, the peppercorns and spanking the monkey, hopefully that'll help you out a little bit. Even if it helps just one person out, it was worth making this video anyway. So thank you. If you're still watching, thank you.
Skip it up and that up.